Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Dune Awaken video. So today I wanted to quickly talk about raiding people's bases in PvE using mobs to destroy their sub-thief. So if you don't already know, there was a video came out. I'm not going to name the content creator. He posted how to do this. It's kind of an exploit, I think. We'll talk more about that later. I just wanted to show you how it works, how it's done in my experience, which was going to be a little different from that video. The way it works is you have to wait till someone's power goes down, and then if there's mobs that are spawned nearby, you can use compel to pull them in to the base and get an angle on you near the sub-thief. Or if there's a what I call the ice cream truck, the ship that flies overhead and it drops mobs down, you could potentially stand in the light, have them come down, and then leash them inside the base with where the power's down. So in the first segment here, you're going to see me trying to leash some mobs to my friend's base. My friend that quit the game, we're just going to destroy his base because I don't want to go out and ruin someone else's day who's just trying to enjoy the game, maybe took a break and is coming back. I don't want to make anyone quit the game, right? But you can see here I'm pulling these assault style mobs into the base, and I'm having trouble leashing them all the way in. They're kind of stopping right at the front door and shooting the storage box and shooting at me, and then the sub-thief's right behind that. But what they are doing, which is really nice, is they're throwing these grenades, and these grenades are actually damaging the sub-thief console. So I'm able to eventually, pull them in here. I tried different angles, but they basically, that's their maximum leash point right there by the entrance. It seems like for these mobs, they don't leash very far. And but eventually we're able to work it down by just repeatedly having them throw grenades at me. Kind of peeking around the corner seems to trigger them to throw a grenade. They just kind of do it on a timer. Otherwise, and they don't always throw it in the right spot, but it didn't seem like it mattered. As long as they threw it in this general direction, it seemed like it was hitting the console. So that worked out well, and we were actually able to completely destroy this sub-thief from our friend's base and see what was left. Now, I've tried the other mobs in different locations at different bases. Next up, we're going to take a look at the heavy mobs. These machine gunners do actually damage the structures. It seems like they do all right too. I didn't actually end up destroying this guy's sub-thief, even though it was clearly somebody who'd been abandoned early in the game. I didn't really think it was worth looting, and also I just don't want to do that in general. Destroy someone's base, right? Now, you can see here that the heavies are actually doing damage, which is great. To this basic granite foundation, right? And eventually we could get the roof, and we could eventually get the sub-thief down. Now, the last mob I did try was the melee mob, the rushers, that was talked about as the best way to do this. In my experience, actually, at least in the bases that I tried this on, the rusher was actually the worst one, even though it does leash the farthest. It often tries to melee you, and the melee doesn't seem to do really anything to the sub-thief, and it won't hit it often anyways. What you can do with the melee mobs is you can stand somewhere where they're unable to melee you, and they will pull out a gun, and that could work for destroying the sub-thief if you can get that situation to work. In the video you're seeing here, I actually was unable to do that successfully because just the way the base was built, and there wasn't good angle for me to stand on where he would actually shoot the sub-thief. In the last segment here was actually a pretty juicy base, which someone would probably really want to have if they're starting out or whatever. There's an advanced vehicle fab and some other stuff, large wind traps that I checked out. I was kind of curious how if the mobs could be chained that far, and if they would even damage the plastone building materials, the walls. And it turns out that they actually don't seem to do any damage. At least these mobs that I was able to pull here didn't do any damage to plastone walls, even while the power was down. So I guess it has to be the basic granite walls or rooftops or foundations for you to try to break it with the mobs. So that's not going to work if you're trying to do a more advanced base here, right? Anyways, I think there does need to be better ways for us players who haven't quit the game to be able to take loot and scavenge from players who do. The way I've seen it so far is I really don't like how, basically the whole base gets destroyed, subfief and all. Well, basically everything else usually gets destroyed before the subfief sometimes, and you just end up losing everything to the sandstorms, and it all goes poof, right? Funcom needs to add some way for us to loot it. I don't think this is the right way. Obviously, this is kind of cheesing it, and if someone's power goes down for one day or whatever, and you get in there and you instantly destroy a full health subfief, I think that is exploiting, and I think you should be banned for that, frankly. But the video that I saw, the guy took a huge amount of loot out of somebody's base, and it seemed like their base hadn't decayed much, and I just, I don't know what you guys think about this. I think it's completely effed, and even though obviously it's a nice way to, to get some of that loot that we have trouble getting otherwise, I think the way that it's done is wrong, and Funcom has actually already addressed this. In fact, they are patching this all out of the game on August 12th, I believe. So you won't be able to use the mobs to damage players' bases or subfiefs any longer. So that's great. They're already on top of it, but I would like to also in hand see them give us an option, obviously to actually do that without cheesing it, right? I think the easiest way for them to do it would actually be for them to make the subfief decay faster. If the base is exposed, it takes more damage than other objects, right? Or something like that. Or maybe if X amount of days you're able to like move things around in the base or something, like move the subfief up to the top or something like that, right? Like there's definitely a way that they could make it possible to raid a player who's obviously quit the game's base versus a player who's just accidentally had the power go down because they forgot to refill or they're on vacation or something like that. It's just not the right way, right? So we'll see in the future. But if you guys, I'm a little bit hesitant about this video, obviously, because I'm basically sharing this exploit with people, but I think people should know about it, and just so that you can protect your own base until this patch comes out at least, and you need to move your subfief. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.